Hi, and welcome to the Paperback podcast. This is the first episode. So first of all, what is this podcast? I know y'all are probably wondering. So I'm just gonna introduce myself and introduce the podcast. So my name's Jenny or Jen, whatever. I'm 16 and I really like books and I go to school and in school we have this thing called IB. And in IB, if you're familiar, my microphone just fell. Honestly, you guys don't understand how shitty this setup is. I've got it all stacked on books here. But it's fine. Everyone starts like this. Anyways, so um we'll come to that later. Um so in IB, we have something called CAS. And if you're an IB student, you're familiar with this. Basically just 18 months of uh like projects. And I decided that I wanted to make this something fun. And so I decided, I've always been into like content creation and it's kind of like my dream. And I also really like books. So I thought, why not put those two together and just make a podcast where I talk about books? Um, but I don't really want to think of this as like a project that I have to do for school. I want to think of this as something that I'm really looking forward to because I really am, and I'm really excited to like just do this. Um, so let me explain what I'm gonna be doing on this podcast. I'm gonna be talking about books. I'm gonna be reviewing them, which means I'm gonna be including spoilers. Like I'm not just gonna be like talking about the books. I'm gonna be like talking about the books, like everything that happens. So that includes spoilers. So if you like don't want any spoilers, anything, I'm sorry, you've come to like the wrong place because I'm gonna be talking about these books. I'm gonna be reviewing them like fully, you know. And um I'm going to be talking about books I hate, books I love, books that I think are overrated or underrated, whatever. Um yeah, we'll see how it goes. I don't know exactly how long these podcasts are going to be. This is literally the first episode. My notes are a piece of paper. So, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. And also, I would just like to state that I'm not an expert at all. Like, I'm just 16. I started really reading like a year ago. I mean, like I could read before that, I'm not illiterate, but I really started getting to books like a year and a half ago. So I haven't read that many books. Like I've read maybe 50 or 60 books. Like that's it, you know. Not even probably. That's like over exaggerating. So I'm not an expert, so I might like people might totally disagree with what I'm saying, and that's fine. Like it's fine to have different opinions, okay? But I just want to share my opinions and yeah, let me know what you think in the comments or whatever, you know. And I would love to just help you guys if you're like you want to get started with reading. I'll love to help you just like find books to get started on, books that really want to made me want to start reading and stuff like that. So yeah, and if you have any ideas of on I just had a voice crack, oh my god. If you have any ideas on what kind of books you would like me to review and talk about, then just let me know. So I will be starting with The Midnight Library. Now, this has got to be like my favorite book, I have to say. I read this Christ, it over like about a year ago actually. This is like one of the first books I read. And honestly, I feel like a good book will really like change your life or at least change some aspect of your life. And this book really did like wow. Like I would like when I finished reading this, I was like, damn. I was like, wow, this is like wow. So, first of all, I'm going to be talking about what the book is about, which means spoilers and everything. Okay, like sorry, I warned you like 3 times already. Okay, so if you don't want any spoilers, click off now. Um what was it? Right, so I'm going to be talking about what the book is about, my opinion on it, and the messages and kind of how the messages are like portrayed and stuff. And then I'll just throw in like some random opinions. We'll see how it goes. I don't really have that much of like a strict plan. But at the end, I will be talking about if I recommend it or whatever. So, first of all, what is the book about? So, there's obviously the back stuff, so I can read that to y'all. So, Nora's life has been going from bad to worse. Then, at the stroke of midnight on her last day on Earth, she finds herself transported to a library. There, she is given the chance to undo her regrets and try out each of the other lives she might have lived. I am stuttering like crazy. Which raises the ultimate question: with infinite choices, what is the best way to live? So, to summarize basically what happens, Nora is, I don't know how old she is. I don't know. She's some woman, and her name is Nora Seed, and she hates her life like a lot because she feels like she can't do anything and she feels like she's wasted her time on Earth. So one day she decides to, unalive herself. And the afterlife isn't hell or heaven or whatever you believe in. It's actually a library, and each one of the books is a different life that she would have had if she made one decision differently. Like if she just like one decision could have changed her life completely. So in the library, it's always midnight. It's like she always checks her watch and it's always like 12, like midnight. So there's also a librarian who is like, I guess you could call her God, but she doesn't look like God. Well, we don't really know what God looks like, but she's just a librarian that Nora used to know in school. So I guess you could say it's God, but it's presenting itself as the librarian that Nora used to have in her school, and wasn't really that much of a significant character in her life from what I see, but like I guess it's like a character that she found a lot of comfort in. So yeah. So she starts going through all these different lives. Um she goes to like Antarctica. She's a movie star in one, no, not a movie, like a rock star in one of them. She is a mother in one of them, an athlete and everything. So she goes through all these different lives, right? And she realizes that being Nora Seed, she wasn't anyone else. She could have done everything and anything that she wanted, right? That's what she realizes. So, in the end, well, I'm gonna be coming to the messages later, but I'm gonna give my opinion on this, like this entire book. I feel like this is a really good book and a really good message of believing yourself and like the fact that we have so much capability and we may not even be aware of it, and just like the power of believing in yourself, and the fact that um believing in herself changed her entire mindset. There's one part in the book where, hold on, 278, I highlighted a lot of quotes from here because they were all really good. 278. So it's basically just like a blog post that Nora made. And it says at some point, all I can tell you is that there wait, all I can tell you is that there's only one thing that has changed. And yet that one thing was everything. And what was that one thing? Believing in herself and believing that she could do anything. Basically, the power of your mindset. If you change your mindset, like, you can really achieve anything. Now, this isn't like if you have depression and like I'm just telling you like, oh, just like go be happy. It's fine. Like just change your mindset. No. That's not what I'm talking about. Whoa. I don't know if y'all heard that. What the books the book isn't trying to tell you to, go fix the chemical imbalance in your brain or whatever. It's just saying that if you have like the I don't know, whatever like problems you have, and if you only focus on that and you believe that that's stopping you from living a life that you want to live, then it is going to stop you from living a life that you want to live, you know? But in reality, it is something that you have to deal with, but you shouldn't let it stop you ever. It's gonna be like difficult to actually deal with it and stuff, but that doesn't mean you should give up ever. Never, like, because if the goal is happiness, then the road of struggle and hardship and whatever should be so worth it. I don't know if that makes sense, but it does to me. So yeah, I feel like that is really that it's really a message about um your capability as a human, you know? And that if you live your whole life telling yourself that you're worthless and you can't do anything, then that's how your life is gonna be. But if you at least try, and if you at least change your mindset, it can change everything. Everything. So I'm gonna read this quote, and this is by far like my favorite quote from the book. Like I think this is something that really changed my life. It um it's from the chapter The Volcano. It's like one of the it's like the last chapter or something. It is quite a revelation to discover that the place you wanted to escape to is the exact same place you escaped from. That the prison wasn't the place, but the perspective. She was still the same human being, right? All that changed was her perspective and how she thought about life. So she was still in the same place. Her life didn't change when she moved or went somewhere else or whatever, you know, or if she lived all the different other lives that she could have lived. That didn't really change her, like, how she felt and how she was. What changed was how she thought and how her perspective was. And that was my dog. So, yeah, I think that is a really important message. And I think this book did just such a good job at, like, portraying that message. So, another thing I want to talk about is the messages of this book. I already kind of talked about the capability thing, so I'm gonna move on for that. But another point they made in this book is by Matt Haig, by the way. Another point he made was that despite negative things being in your life and like negative emotions, negative experiences, um, Nora, at some point in the book, was still happy to be alive. She was still gonna go through grief and sadness and anger and whatever, but she was still happy to be alive. Proof. Hold on. What was this? Hold on. 278. So, proof of what I just said. Will my life be miraculously free from pain, despair, grief, heartbreak, hardship, loneliness, depression? No. But do I want to live? Yes. This, I think if you really, really get to that point where you're happy despite there being, like, if you get to that point where you're happy despite there being like a million and one reasons why you could not be happy and things that you could be upset about, then I think you have really like grown as a person. Because I still have negative experiences in my life and I still get sad and whatever, but I'm still happy and I'm still happy to be alive because all the things that make life what it is are not exactly 100% positive and whatever, but they are a part of life. And even if I go through bad things, I am still so happy. And that's the same thing that the Library is talking about. And I think that's so important because I feel like we all focus on the million and one reasons to be sad about, but I think that those reasons are always going to be there, and I think it doesn't make sense to focus on those things if you can accept the fact that they are there and also just be happy about being alive. Because, in my opinion, from my perspective, it is such a gift to be on this planet. I see a lot of people who don't want to be alive, and I totally get that. Like, there's points where I've thought that as well. But I feel like it is such a relief feeling happy, even though you could be sad. And, like, even if I'm going through hard times, I'm like, hey, this is all a part of life, and I'm still happy I'm here, you know? And I love the fact that this book talked about this because I think my mindset also changed when I read this book. Like I am kind of like Nora, you know? I mean, I'm not as suicidal and depressed as her or whatever. Um, but it really did shift my mindset on things. So yeah. So, how are these messages that I'm talking about all the time even portrayed, you know? Like what are you talking about, Jen? You know? So I mentioned this before, but I want to go a bit more into detail about this. So Nora goes through all these lives, you know, like she goes from being a rock star to being a mom to being like in Antarctica and almost eaten by a polar bear or something. And the thing is, she was the same person that she's always been. Nothing changed about her looks or about her body or whatever, or her name or anything. The only thing that changed were her decisions. And this is exactly my point. This proves that as Nora Seed, she could have achieved anything that she wanted. She didn't have to be um, depressed and having a shitty job in England somewhere. She could have been a rock star, whatever. Everything is based on her decisions. And I feel like it is really like comforting to know that, and it's also kind of scary that you can do anything, you just have to make the right decisions, you know? And that may also be kind of scary because it's like, wow, my entire life is in my control, so if I make a bad decision, like, who knows what will happen. So I guess you could look at it like that, or you could look at it like that anything is possible for you, you know? Don't wait until you die to pick up the book and look how your life could have been different. Just make the decisions now, and anything that's meant to happen will happen. Okay, so I'm gonna get to the last segment of the podcast, which is what I recommend this book. Yes, absolutely. It's fast paced. It's pretty like it's a page turner, you know, as they would say. I hate saying that. I feel really cringe saying that. But there's Matt Haig, Ginger, and Bald. Jesus Christ. Sounded really bad. I was gonna say pick a struggle. Like I can't say that, bro. I'm sorry, Matt Haig. I loved your book. It was amazing. Um so would I recommend this book? Yes, it has. It's I feel like it's perfect for like first time readers. It's easy to read. It isn't like fucking Brave New World by Aldous Huxley, which I'm reading right now, which is like it's taking me weeks to finish. I've like I haven't taken this long to finish a book in a while. I'll talk about that later if I ever finish that godforsaken book. Like it's actually good, but my English capabilities do not like they're not enough for them. So chapters are pretty short. It's really fast paced, easy to read. There's also like poems in between, which are cool. Um, and what else is there? Right, a lot of quotes. Really short chapters. Like I love short chapters. If you love short chapters, this is for you. Short chap. That's a tongue twister. Also, what I realized is the paperback podcast is also kind of a tongue twister. Like if you keep saying that, it is really a tongue twister. So, um, right, yeah. And so I would totally recommend, like I give this book 5 out of 5 stars. So yeah. Like I don't know, I highly recommend this book. Go get it. It's not a waste of money at all. A lot of people do say it's overrated or whatever. I don't think that's the case at all though. But, again, I'm not an expert like whatsoever. Um, you know, Also it says here a celebration of life's possibilities by The Guardian. I don't know who that is. It's probably some news article thing or whatever. And that's what I've been saying this whole time. It is a celebration of life's possibilities. Go read it. It's good. So that was the first episode of the podcast. I hope it was somewhat, you know, endurable. Endurable? Yeah. I'm gonna be uploading this on Spotify as well. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. I hope I did all right. And next episode, I don't know. I might talk about how much I hate Punk 50, Punk 57. Or I might talk about let's think, like Lonely Castle in the Mirror, which was really nice. Or I'll talk about Almond, whatever. We'll see. And yeah, so go read The Midnight Library. Very good book. And I'll see you guys next time.